guys, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we're in some candlelight, and we are talking about Conjure, and I have to say it straight away, because I've just learned it while reading this new book. Here's what we're reading. Conjure cannot be practiced without one tool. There's only one tool that you have to have, and that is the Holy Bible. Okay. Now this makes it kind of a taboo topic in witchcraft because a lot of people believe, and that's fine if you believe it, that witchcraft can't be done by Christians. And I'm not a Christian, but I have been in the past, and I still embrace the love that Jesus inspires in people. And I think it's a really beautiful energy by the Christians that are beautiful people, okay? Like Jesus was known to have been. But the reason why so Conjure comes from the slaves that were taken from Africa to North America, and then they were forced to be slaves, and then they were forced to be Christians as well. So they hid their magical workings within the Bible, and that's how whenever their owners would come around and when they were chanting and singing and all of this, they were just making it their own by using what they were forced to use. You know, that was their prayer time. And also I highly respect it because they came with just their knowledge, the clothes on their backs, from Africa to a place that's not a climate at all like it. Different roots, different herbs, different everything. And then they made it work and they figured it out. So that is super inspirational to me. And those are the people, the slaves that brought it over all those years ago. That's what we call in Conjure our ancestors. Now we've talked about how to set up an altar. We've talked about how to give offerings. We've talked about where it came from in videos before this. I'm kind of doing a few videos on this book because it's just, I can't put it down. And I also hate to stop doing videos on my day off. So, I'm really excited. Where's my other foot? I have 2 feet. Do you guys see it? Well, we're going to be talking about divination and how they use divination in Conjure. And I wanted to have both of my feet so I could show you, because part of the divination is throwing bones at the feet. So we'll figure it out. But for now, you stay there. And let's just get to some reading out of the book, shall we? Okay. What is divination? Do you guys already know? If you're new to witchcraft, some people don't exactly know. Divination is a way of finding out what is going on, or what will go on by spiritual means, such as soothsaying and prophecy. Divination is an important part of Conjure. Most workers will tell you that there shouldn't be any type of work done until the worker has done divination on the situation. I highly respect that. Because you're asking the ancestors for their guidance before you even start. Is this a yes or no? Shall we be doing it? I work with a couple of tools for divination. Cards, like playing cards. Blue water. And the bones. I was never taught to read tarot cards, but I am not skilled at them. I have never had any luck in reading them, but if you give me a deck of playing cards or a set of bones, I'm on my way. Does anybody know what blue water is for divination? Does anyone know? Please comment if you do know. and tell me as much on it as you can if you do know. Bone reading and card reading are very traditional conjure. In the old days, I'm not saying old days, I'm saying old days, O-L-E. In the old days, and I still do it at times, the client was made to stand on a white cloth, so picture a white cloth under the foot, and the bones were thrown at their feet onto the cloth. Or I think they talk later about dropping them at the feet. This was done so the worker could see what the ailment was and how to fix it. The bones and the cards are tools for the ancestor to speak through to help the worker in their work. Okay? Bone reading. You can't just gather up a bunch of bones and start throwing them. You can't? No, no, no. The bones need to first be treated, and then they need to be dedicated to the ancestors or the spirit you will work with. I'm going to be dedicating mine to the ancestors because I strongly feel that my intuition's been screaming it for a long time, but I strongly feel that I just need to dedicate my working straight to them, my offering straight to them. This is where it came from, you know. And it's a great way to honor them. Just such a great way. So you can't just do that. They need to be treated. They need to be dedicated. What does the word dedicated mean? This is what Webopedia has to say. Reserved for a specific use. In communications, a dedicated channel is a line reserved exclusively for one type of communication. I never thought of my spiritual link with my ancestors as a dedicated channel, but I guess it is. Spirit speaks through the bones or the cards as a way to communicate with me. This might not be the correct spiritual term, but it explains exactly what happens when you dedicate your bones to the ancestors. That dedication will open up the lines of communication between you and the ancestors. Sometimes it may just be a feeling, a knowing that you are on track. Or you can sometimes hear them speaking in your mind. And that's what I feel I hear. I guess we're calling it clairaudience. That's what my research tells me that it is. Folks throw, where am I at? A knowing that you are on track, or you can sometimes hear them speaking in your mind. They communicate with the bones in many different ways. It could be a pattern or the way the bones fall. You must be in tune with your ancestors to be a good bone reader. Folks throw many different types of bones that they have collected. The bones are collected over time, and possum bones or chicken bones are traditional. Some readers add curios to their sets, and these are also called bones. In the picture that they show here, there's like a possum balcom, a bunch of toe bones, just a bunch of bones, and then the curios, there's like a tiny hammer, an unlit match, a lion tail, a couple of stones, so a bunch of bones and then some other things, and you're just like dropping them at the, there's a white handkerchief below the foot where the person would stand, okay, your client, or yourself. If you're doing it on yourself, you're standing on a white handkerchief and you're just dropping them above your feet. and you're supposed to ask your question, and it will tell us how to do this, and I've already read through it, so I'm trying to explain it before we get there, but you ask your question, and okay, you. Yes, yes. Hi, Maddie, from Eleanor. Okay. Okay. So, reserved for a specific use. So basically you can just add a bunch of things and then it will tell us like how to carry them and the correct everything. So these sets, they're also called bones. Some readers add curios to their sets and these are also called bones. So everything in your bag that you read with is called a bone. Whether it's a teeny tiny hammer, a crystal, or whatever, they're all called bones. Nowadays you can find bones for sale all over the internet. Or you can collect them by finding them out in the wild. Either way is fine. The next question is, how do you dedicate the bones? You would ask 50 workers, almost all of them will tell you something different. And that's what I flippin' love about Conjure so far and about witchcraft in general in my experience, is you ask 10 people and they've all got different answers. That's pretty killer. I love that. It means we're all adapting to what we need it to be for our personal selves, you know? That's good stuff. But since this is I'll tell you something different. But since this is my book, I'm going to tell you one way that I dedicate things to my ancestors. You can use this dedication process for your cards also. Make sure you do a brush down or a spiritual bath before you enter any type of work, which we talked about actually before. You don't want to bring the muck you have gathered in your day-to-day dealings with folks into your altar and let it mix with your bones. You should always make it a habit to do at least a brush down before you do any type of spiritual work, no matter how small it may seem. I'm going to repeat that. No matter how small it may seem, you need to do a brush down. In Conjure, you are asking directly to talk with spirits. I mean, and ask them for their guidance, direct help, and you're giving them offerings, okay? So, you need to cleanse yourself before you go in and as you come out. This is a step that I would not leave out. Ever. You know? Keep yourself clean and safe. And this book will tell us how to do that. Where did I leave off? Brush down, day-to-day dealings. You should always make it a habit to do at least a brush down before you go to any type of spiritual work, no matter how small it may seem. You may be wondering, what in the world is a brush down or a spiritual bath? I discussed how to make a spiritual wash earlier, see page 36. That's when we talked about making the bay leaf, olive leaf, and something else tea. That one. Follow these directions for making a spiritual bath too. A brush down is a simple but effective way to do a quick cleansing. There are a couple different tools you can work with, but you can buy a whisk broom, or you can use a handle or a chicken foot. Okay, excuse me, a candle or a chicken foot. I just dried chickens for you guys. I'm so, it just has worked out perfect. And then it kind of breaks off and says something else. I'm almost positive I have brought around another question. Why in the world would you use a dried chicken's foot to cleanse with it? Chickens are known for digging and scratching, so the chicken foot is very effective for scratching off blocks, cross conditions, and any other negative thing you might have picked up during your day. Chicken feet are a big thing in my world, and I hope they will become a big thing in your world too. And I'm saying that to you guys too. For they are one of the best ways to keep cross conditions off and away from your home. That's so cool and interesting, that little bit there. Okay, the chicken foot, the candle, and the broom are all worked with in the same way. Holding the tool in your hand, start with the crown of your head and sweep the tool down and outward, like this, with a brushing motion. Please do not go back and forth like this. Like, don't come back up. Only go down and out. Down and out. This is a no. This is a go. Crown, down and out. Okay? Where are we at? Where are we at? Please do not go back and forth over your body, because all you will be doing is stirring up the muck. Move the tool in one long stroke from the crown of your head to the bottom of your feet. Try to do as much of your body as you can. Once the brush down is done, make sure you dress the crown of your head and the bottom of your feet with some type of blessing oil. You may pray Psalm 23 into a bottle, and so far in Conjure, saying words onto something, breathing the breath of the words like we did onto the Bible in the last one, is a big part of it. And so you can pray Psalm 23 into a bottle of olive oil and use that as a general dressing oil. I love that. I love that. Really do. A lady stopped me and then this is a different topic. A lady stopped me in the middle of a cleansing class a few years ago. She wanted to know where all the junk that was being removed off folks was going. She informed me that I was not doing the work safely because I was not teaching them to visualize it going into the earth. Needless to say, I stopped the class so that she could explain to me what she meant. That was something I had never heard of before. I assured her that I knew what I was teaching, and I would never teach something that could be harmful. Well, she wasn't done yet. She wanted me to tell her where it went. She just wouldn't let it go. So I simply said, as you brush down and out, it goes into the earth where you are praying for it to go. When you remove something by brushing downwards and away from you while praying it to go into the Mother Earth for her to heal, then that is where it's going to go. I just wanted to make sure that was clear in this book so folks can work with ease. So it's really important that you visualize that happening while you're doing it. That energy coming off of you and going and grounding into the earth. Okay? Did I say that? Yeah. Once the cleansing is complete, it is time to call on your ancestors. Petition them to fill your bones with their power. Not your bones in your body, but the bones that you're throwing at the foot. Petition them to fill your bones with their power, so you will be able to understand what they are saying to you, the message that they are trying to communicate to you. This small setup on your altar is all you need. A setup is a group of candles that are placed in the shape of a cross and work is set in the center of the setup. Lay out your white handkerchief so that your ancestor altar is on the table. Spread your bones on top of the hanky. My dad calls a handkerchief a hanky. I'm fond of that. Lay out 4 candles of your choosing on the shape of a cross around your bones. We're going to have to do a video on that because I'm not exactly sure. I'm just reading it. But I can't picture it in my head. The first candle goes on the top, the next candle on the bottom, the next to the left, and the last to the right. The photo here shows this setup, but see, to me it just sounds like it forms a T and not an actual cross. The photo here shows the setup, and it just doesn't make sense to me. much, but I moved the bottom anyway. Okay, what does locking down mean? Because it says that one of the candles in the picture is locking something down, and then it says, what does locking down mean? When you are doing conjure work, there are different layouts that can be worked with. If you are working with the cross setup, like we talked about here, then you are either locking something or someone down. In other words, you are holding the target in one place. This can be done with candles, nails, rocks, or anything else that will set up a block. And by the target, it looked like there's a picture of somebody that they're holding down with a candle. And so, I think they're asking for that person to be held down. Like, maybe it's a person that they were going up against a job for and they really need the job. Maybe you could hold them down so that you get the job. I don't know. I'm just guessing all of that. Okay, so that's what holding down... No, we're still talking about it. This can be done with candles, nails, rocks, or anything else that can set up a block. For this work, you place the candles from left to right because you are locking something down. That is exactly what you will be doing, locking the power and the communication your ancestors share with you into the bones, so the bones can retain the power of insight. If you would have placed the candles from going right to left, then you would be opening up the way. You use the opening setup when you are doing works to draw things to you like love, money, a job, or maybe power. There is no limit to the works that you can do with either of the setups. Remember, left to right closes and right to left opens. Good to know. How are you guys today? Conjure is so exciting. I'm really excited reading about it. But there's so much in this divination. So we're going to have to just make this one divination bone reading, and the next one will be like talking about protection during your readings and all the other things that there are to talk about in here. Because I'm excited to say the divination chapter is pretty long. And we're already at 22 minutes. I actually enjoy a 30-minute video. I love to sit down to listen to a 30-minute video. I might not watch it the entire time, but I like listening to them. Okay, so you will need to go to your altar daily and repeat this process for 7 days. We jumped from something to something. After it talked about the locking down thing, because we were talking about the altar setup. And the cross altar. You'll need to go to your altar daily and repeat this process for 7 days. On the 8th day, you wrap your bones up in their hanky, and you will thank your ancestors. Then give them an offering. That part is done, but you're not done just yet. Take your bones and place them in your pillowcase where you lay your head. So, here's the pillow, and the pillowcase is around it. Place it under the pillow, in between the case and the pillow, on the underside, okay? Not on the top where your head lays, but under. Under and in. Keep them there for 7 days. If you have dreams during those 7 days, try to write them down. And I would even ask your spirit guides to give you, or the ancestors to give you dreams during that time. And you need to journal them, for sure. If you have dreams during those 7 days, try to write them down. After the 7 days are up, lay out your handkerchief. Hold the bones up to your mouth and call on the Trinity first. Seriously, blowing words is really big in Conjure, it's seeming. Then call on the Trinity first, then your ancestors. Petition them to help you understand the bones. Petition them to communicate with you in a way you will understand. Ask a question that you already know the answer to. Then throw the bones gently on the handkerchief, right? Sit there quietly for a few minutes and then just study the layout. See if you can understand the message, because it's a question you already know the answer to. It's going to be easier, and that's a really good way to practice, you guys. That's a really good way to practice divination if you ask a question you already know the answer to. Because it just makes it so much easier to practice understanding how the cards work. And then how the bones work in this case. Sit there quietly for a few minutes and just study the layout. See if you can understand the message. Write down what you think you see in the bones, and then wait a day and go back. While you're waiting, you can leave the bones on the altar, tie them back in the hanky, or put them under their pillow. Whatever you feel is best, or however your spirit moves you. However spirit moves you. Not you, but spirit. Ask the same questions, and if you guys want to know how to listen to spirit, just message me and I'll talk to you about that. Ask the same questions and throw the bones again. See how they fall. Don't try too hard, because you will block out your insight if you do. That's really important to say. If you're trying to think like, I need to be able to move things with my mind, that's not what our craft is, you guys. If you get to that point someday, I'd love to meet you. And I do believe that people can do it for sure. But we are, doing something different. We're manifesting with energy and with intention and assisting, products. So, don't try too hard on things, and don't think that you need a lot. Time and intention are the two most potent and easy ingredients. They're free. Plain and simple, there's one thing you cannot do, and it's overthink this or analyze it to death. Like the popular shoe commercial says, just do it. Trust in your ancestors to help you understand what they are trying to tell you. The very first step is to have a strong connection with your ancestors. So definitely having altar and offerings, okay? They speak through the bones, so they can help you with your daily life. This is truly Conjure at its best, because most old school workers either throw the bones or read playing cards. They don't usually read tarot cards. Interesting, because I've never been really good at reading tarot cards. I still use the book. I can't just read a layout and feel confident about reading it. I feel like I always have to look at the book. Unless it's really common cards that I know, some of the major arcana, I got those, but a lot of the suits, I gotta look, And I've put in effort and time. It's just my intuition's not that simple. That's why I'm always looking for new divination, because I've always wanted to be able to do it. Always. This is truly Conjure at its best, because old school workers either throw the bones or read playing cards, and they don't usually read tarot cards. Bone reading is basically like building a puzzle. As you, the reader, have to find out how the difficult bones fit together to tell the story. It might not make sense at first. You may even feel a little confused the first few times you throw the bones. Be patient with yourself. Bone reading is not something that you can learn overnight. It's a process that requires a lot of patience, as well as a strong relationship with your ancestors. You will need to develop this skill so that you can learn how to discern what spirit is really trying to say to you. This is what makes a true bone reader different from a fake. They follow spirit and not so much the meanings of the bones. You start by connecting all the puzzle pieces. Then you can, when you can do this, then the picture will become clear. You have to keep pushing it, and before you know it, the whole puzzle is completed. Bone reading works the same way as putting that puzzle together. Each bone tells its own unique story. The thing to remember is to relax and let spirit guide you in the reading. Once you learn as a reader how the different bones relate to one another and learn to read the pattern of the bones, then you will know how to read for a client. Even if they try to hide something from you, the bones will tell it. No one can tell you what spirit is telling you except you. And you know what you feel and see. You can follow the same instructions above to empower a deck of cards or a pendulum. It is the basic method whenever you need to empower a tool. And I'm at 30 minutes, so I have to stop. You guys, if you got through that with me, thank you. I'm really excited to show you some bone reading once I get some bones together. Chicken bones will be easy to get together. The possum bones, not so easy, but who knows. That's an animal that's local, and I may find one in the woods or something. So, thanks for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, talking about Conjure. Have a beautiful day, you guys.